Americans may soon have to shake up their salt habit. For the first time, the Food and Drug Administration is proposing guidelines to limit sodium levels in restaurants and in packaged foods.
That's right. Americans consume an average of about 3,400 milligrams of sodium every day. That's nearly 50% more than the recommended limit of 2,300 milligrams. High sodium levels lead to thousands of deaths each year from heart disease and stroke. Dr. Roshini Raj is a gastroenterologist at NYU Langone Medical Center. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
So, is this proposal going to have an impact on people's lives, given that these are sort of guidelines and most people don't always follow guidelines?
Right. Well, these are voluntary guidelines for the food industry, and it is important because most of the salt that we're getting as Americans is from the prepackaged or processed foods. It's not necessarily what we're adding with the salt shaker. And when you think about it, yes, we do need sodium to survive, but we only need about 500 milligrams a day. We're consuming way more than that. And so it's not just if a food tastes salty, it could be a bread or a cracker that you don't even think really tastes that salty. A lot of sodium is put in there. They're voluntary guidelines, but hopefully the food industry will follow it because we do know that there are health risks associated with too much sodium.
So remind people about those health risks.
Sure.
I think bloated feet, I can't fit into my shoes.
Yeah,
but does it get much worse than that, right?
That, yeah. So I think high blood pressure is the major risk here. When you have too much sodium in your body, your kidneys can't excrete it or eliminate as much as you need to. So you hold on to it. That attracts water into your blood vessels. That leads to high blood pressure, which we know is a leading risk factor for cardiovascular disease and stroke. So it's estimated, even with these modest changes that are recommended by the FDA guidelines, that over 30,000 strokes and heart attacks could be prevented just by making these small changes.
And we just showed a graphic there of some of the foods that contain very high sodium levels. And that, you made a great point, which is that sometimes you may not know that the food you're consuming already has high sodium in it.
Exactly.
I mean, we were joking earlier that the once a month that I have my McDonald's fries, I definitely add more salt to those because they're delicious with a lot of salt.
Need it, right?
They're delicious with a lot of salt. But with certain foods like breads or certain things that you might eat, packaged produce and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, things like tomato sauce. It doesn't necessarily taste salty, but it has salt in it. And when you're thinking about your children especially, the pizza, the chicken nuggets, all these packaged foods, you really need to watch out for the sodium. And we're not only talking about, heart failure and heart attack, but kidney disease, potentially osteoporosis. We used to think salt was really just an issue for salt-sensitive people. We now realize that for everyone out there, too much sodium does pose a health risk.
And of course, did you know that there's a salt institute?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's an institute.
They're not happy.
Whenever the FDA comes out with anything, there is a group on the other side that says, oh, come on. The Salt Institute is the case here. And they're saying this is completely unnecessary. You're a doctor. What do you say?
I think that it's a good move in the right direction, and the more evidence we have, we see that salt is not good for us overall, although we do need a little bit. We have too much right now, so anything that can curb that a bit, I think, is a good thing.